Hola, good morning. Do. I just wanted to touch on something. Yeah, the last few videos there, I kind of just crammed them in, I guess. But even though they're fairly rudimentary, I hope I was able to put, the gist of it, get the gist of it across. Now, the thing I'm wondering about is, okay, so, there's a man who acts as the Prime Minister of Canada, the corporate body politic, and he decides that he doesn't like certain free press, and so now, was it him, or was it the man or woman that acts as the election commissioner, or whoever that put the order in that our free press could not attend the public debates and do question period after the public debates. Now, these parties, they're running on public donations. Now, are they actually private donations because you become a member of the party? So that puts you as a party member, therefore you're out of the public into the private. But they run on their donations for public office and are supposed to have a public debate so everyone can see where each party stands through its prime minister. So it's the party that elects the head of the party, right? The leader of the party. Okay, so that would be the prime, the prime public servant hopeful, right? Because whoever holds the prime public service, the prime minister's office, whoever holds that entitlement, is the prime public servant, not the leader of the country, but the prime public servant. The leader of the party, yes, but leader of the public, no. Now, I know I'm always dissing this piece of paper here, but right at the beginning in its article, I think it's Article 2, everyone has the following fundamental freedoms. Now, so like I say, this piece of paper doesn't give everyone their freedoms or their rights. This piece of paper recognizes the rights and freedoms of this nation already. And so it's a reflection, this is a reflection of what we already have as a people, as a nation, those of mankind on this land. And so this is the mandate to which the prime public service must act. All the public service must act. That is under the authority of the Canadian government or the government of Canada. The Canadian government being the corporation and the government of Canada being that de facto government that serves as, instead of a de jure government, serves as a government of and for the people. So like if you look at the Constitution, it says like everyone. So everyone. So it's everyone. Who is the one? It's all those of mankind. No matter what person that they ascribe to. All right? So everyone, like I say, a man is not a person, but a person is man. I keep saying a man, and yeah, I need to have you forgive me on this. All right, I'm being a little sloppy, and when I look at the vids, I see I'm going to do better to tighten it up, because anytime you put the letter A, okay, the word A before another word, it means not. It means it's not there. It doesn't exist. Like amoral. So it's not immoral. It's not moral. It's amoral. That means it just doesn't exist. There's no morality there, right? Which is what our public service has been leading their society into the indoctrination of an amoral society. Because if the young folks over generations can be brought up as an amoral society, that means anything goes. And if those indoctrinated generations behind us that come up don't know the difference between right and wrong, what is moral and what is immoral, then anything goes, right? And this is all part of the indoctrination to dumb down our future generations, which they're doing a really good job. When did it exactly start? Well, probably, I would guess around my generation, like say, somewhere in the 60s and 70s, and then, on and on and on is when it started to go down. But the reason I'm bringing this up is like, okay, so during the election, there was a man or a woman that held some kind of public office that decided that, that this nation didn't have the right to free press. Now, the free press is part of our communication. It's the free press is supposed to be done by the people, so that the people could receive the communication of what our public services do, what the news is, what our neighborhood's doing, what our neighbors are doing down the way, what's going on, okay, what's going on within this nation. And so everyone means everyone, right? So everyone has the following fundamental freedoms. Now, like I say, this is a reflection of the law of this land, okay? Now, this is the supreme law of Canada, right? So, Article 2B is freedom of thought, freedom of belief, freedom of opinion and expression. So these things can't be interfered with. Not lawfully, not legally. Everyone has that right. Yet it seems that our public service and this de facto corporation, it seems that they wish to interfere with that at every chance. And this divided or diverse groups, or these diverse societies, groups and organs and so on, are promoting this diversity and attacking anyone of everyone, their fundamental freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including, right? Now, because it's including, it's not ended there, like includes, person includes corporation, that's the end of it. Person is corporation, right? So all corporations are run by mankind. A corporation cannot operate without man or woman giving that corporate body life. So we give the government life. It is, I mean, you can have this, you can have all the ministers, all the titles, all the offices, have them all in place. But unless a man or a woman steps up and gives it life. And so it's a man or woman that gives the person life. Right? A person doesn't give a man life, or doesn't give mankind life. mankind gives person life. It's an act, right? Persona, an act. So I wish to act as whichever. I wish to act as Prime Minister of the corporate body politic, right? The prime servant. So, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other means of communication. Now, that doesn't specify, because who knows? Other means of communication, like who knows what we can invent, what man can create and invent and discover for different means of communication. Like someone in the future may discover ways to communicate through thought process, through the megahertz that our bodies operate on. Maybe they got a low and a high megahertz, and just at the right megahertz, all of a sudden you can send your brainwave to your neighbor, to your friend. Who knows? And we don't need electronic. Everybody knows that our bodies produce electricity. And that goes back to the soul, spirit, man, and the operation of. But so who knows what other forms of communication we may discover. So including freedom of the press. Okay, so the thing I don't understand is, if someone who acts within the corporate body politic, who acts as a public servant, decides that, well, no, you can't, I don't like your free press. Okay, I don't like you, and I don't like your free press. I don't like the questions, because you're going to ask me hard questions. So you can't come to this public forum, and you can't ask me questions after the debate. Well, hang on a second. They just stepped out of this mandate. Now, if someone who acts as a public actor steps out of this mandate, now don't remember, not everyone who acts as a public servant has what they call crown immunity. And that's just reserved, I believe, for the Privy Council. All right, for the inner circle, the ones who wipe the king's ass. All right, so, and that's probably because the king doesn't wish to have its Privy Council, talk about how many pimples are on his ass, right? So there again, but not just because you're part of the public service doesn't mean you have crown immunity. And when you step out of this law, okay, this mandate that you've actually given oath to and sworn to uphold, to operate within. So when you step out of this mandate, where's your immunity? Now you're just naked as a jaybird. Now you're just a man. Okay, now you've stepped out of your title, so now you can't hide behind your title. This is the way I see it. This is the way I believe it to be. So if some man or woman decided that certain free press cannot act, and then they do a court action, well, who's liable for the financing of all the lawyers to attack or to defend themselves from the free press? And I'm specifically talking about, say, True North and Rebel, like, you can't ask those questions, you can't come, you can't, and so they had to do an emergency injunction to get at, because the Constitution, the mandate of the public service clearly states that. And the whole operation, the whole operation was running on public funds, whether it be from the resources that belong to the people of this land, or whether it comes from the citizens of that are taxable citizens. Like, everyone is everyone, whether you're a citizen or just a man, or everyone. So what I'm trying to get at is, who's liable for the cost? Why should the public be liable for the costs of a dirty deed that happened that wasn't within the mandate of the Supreme Law of Canada? Now, if they're acting on behalf of Canada, now here's the thing. Alberta, you don't have a constitution. Okay? Those folks in Alberta, you only have this. Alright, so Alberta is part of Canada. Okay, Alberta is part of Canada. It's a subsidiary of Canada. It's not a province on its own. It's not a de jure province. You have no right. You have the people there. The only right that anyone has on this land is our common law and the customs of the people. This Canadian mandate here, this what they call the Supreme Law of Canada, applies to public actors. It applies to the establishment. Anybody who wishes to operate within the corporate body politic called Canada, the corporate body. And so, sorry, I went off my point a little bit. It's just, I can't get over the thought that the only way that anyone can be sovereign, like anyone can actually rally around some kind of sovereignty of, say, of their province, say their community, the community within the province, is if the province is de jure itself and can rally around. So, like, Alberta itself has no right to farm the land. It has no right to go after the natural resources. They belong to those of mankind, of that land. And because no one steps up of mankind, there's no man there to give permission or deny permission. All you have are corporate citizens, right? So once the Constitution's in, once the people can rally, like, all the effort and time it's going to take to if nothing else is done, the guy puts in the time and the effort and the expense to build a ground-up constitution. And I'm using Alberta, I'm saying Saskatchewan, Manitoba, BC, like, everybody needs this. But once that's done, then the people are now, as a community, as a society, are sovereign over exactly how they can act and limit the feds to their actions, right? And it's very easy to like to build a constitution that this actually would, not that the Alberta Constitution fits this, but that where this could fit the Alberta Constitution, because this one is a corporate piece of paper and a corporate mandate, whereas if the people of Alberta create a constitution, then it is by, of, and for the people. It is of the land, and yeah, no, that's power, man. That's power. That's power to the people. So, so here we go. So we have some actor who decides, like, certain free press is not welcome at a public debate that's publicly financed, and the free press is of the public as well, and has a right. Who is paying for the court costs to break this constitution, to attack these folks, those of the public that are acting as free press? Who's paying for that? I believe that the whoever the man or woman is, that the government actor is, because they stepped out of this mandate, should be personally liable. Period. And they're, you pay for it. If you want to step out of the mandate of this office, of the supreme law of Canada, to which you aspire to be the prime servant of, you pay for it. The people shouldn't have to pay for it. You have to have some skin in the game. And this is the thing, unless our public actors, have skin in the game, they will just play willy-nilly dictator, see what they can push and get away with, and no cost to them. It only costs us. So people are donating to help our fellow man who acts as the free press to fight a bad actor in the corporate body politic, and yet the people are also paying for the bad actor that claims they wish to be a public servant. So we're getting screwed, and that bad actor has no skin in the game because, well, I've got immunity. Well, no, you don't. You stepped out of your mandate. Your immunity stops at the edges of this box. Okay, sorry, guy. You see, it's only two-dimensional too, right? So now I didn't have enough room on the board, but in Article 52(1) of this supreme law of Canada, it says the Constitution of Canada is the supreme law of Canada, and any law that is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution is, to the extent of the inconsistency, of no force or effect. So if a bad actor decides that they don't like this Article 2B and wishes to disrespect the Constitution, the mandate of their office to which they aspire or do hold, that they are bound to, that this is the policy, this is the regulation that they are bound to, that as a man or woman swore an oath to uphold, right? Then why are we paying for it? So there's a good one, and so let's just say it was the man-child himself that decided to attack our free press, and so our free press is doing it. It does an emergency injunction. I don't know about the one body of free press how much they pay, but the other one was around, I don't know, $24,000, $16,000, but they have to continue it now because of these bad actors stepping out of their mandate. They now have to continue because it was an emergency injunction on something that was temporary for that public meeting. All right, so the leaders debates, right? So they have to continue on with this, so that this man or woman who has no skin in the game can't go ahead and do this willy-nilly again the next time we have a public leaders debate, right? Leaders of the party being, right? So now they're talking about another 75 grand that they're taking from public donations. Now, who is paying the lawyers on the other side for the man or woman who stepped out of this mandate? So we're going to pay for both. There's something wrong about that. There's something that's not just about that. I don't see justice in that. I see justice, and what the problem is, because there's no accountability to the people, to the to both the citizens and both those of mankind at this land. There's no accountability for these actors that are holding office, and for some reason they believe. Now remember, only mankind can believe. Okay, any law that says, believe, if the officer believes, well, that officer obviously has to be a man or a woman, and therefore should be able to be held liable as that man or woman if they step out of their mandate. Right? So we don't seem to have accountability for our public service and our public servants, and this is just one way. They have totally, interfered with the right of the free press, of the people to have a free press, when free press is being kicked out of public debates, and so maybe this is a good one for a letter, like. Who authorized this? Who was in charge of authorizing this to attack our free press? And how is it that man or woman does believe that they can step out of the mandate of the supreme law of Canada? Well, that's what I was getting to with Alberta's Constitution. This is Alberta's Constitution. This is the only Constitution. This one in the British North American Act, right? Which we also call the Constitution 1867. So, Alberta, you run under this, right? Written by somebody thousands of miles across the pond, some faceless, nameless man or woman or organ man or woman that you've never met, you don't know, right? Because this is for their Crown Corporation, which is all we have here. So that's why I can't, people get sick of me talking about, well, Constitution of Alberta. There has to be one. Then it's of the land, it's of the people, it's of the trees, it's of the animals, it's of the rocks, it's of the dirt, it's of the plants. It's, it comes up from that, because mankind is the steward of the earth. We are the stewards of the earth. The government is say we did have a de jure government, okay, so what we do is we create certain ministries or whatever, offices, say, hey, we wish you to manage this for us, to make sure that, corporate entities don't destroy, our little Frankensteins don't get out of control and destroy the land and cause harm to, our people, who cause harm to mankind. And our natural resources, our livestock, our elk, our wolves, because we are all one with nature, we are all part of this nature, we all come from this land, we are all carbon based, right? Carbon is our life, this is how we operate, and we come from this carbon based land, and therefore belong to this land, and the land belongs to mankind. So, and how do I know? This is a Judeo-Christian nation, and within that nation, within that tradition, within that belief that we've established over eons, that God created man, and government is a creation of mankind, and we are a common law land, and so God gave man stewardship over the earth, not governments. So man creates a constitution, a mandate on how our public service, on how our Frankenstein will act, so that Frankenstein doesn't get out of hand and cause harm to its creator, and therefore we can have some common sense on how we deal with stuff. Like I say, there's a difference between a man or a woman hunting meat to feed their family than somebody who does wish and require and need to forage for sustenance. There's a big difference between that. They have a right. That man or woman has a right to do this. Okay, it's not subject to the public servant, whereas the the corporate body, the hunter, has to be licensed.